guys, today I have a book haul to share with you. So let's get going with this book haul. As always, I have 20 books that I'm going to be sharing here, and yeah, I've said this in all of my book hauls. I am just so far behind with book hauls that many of the books that you're going to see in this video, a lot of them are a couple years old at this point, and that's how far behind I am. And yeah, I think there's only actually just a few books in this actual pile that I've read and reviewed on this channel, so if I get to those books, I'll let you know. But yeah, let's get going. First up, The Daydreams by Laura Hankin. Back in 2004, The Daydreams had it all, a cast of innocent-seeming teenagers acting and singing their hearts out, amazing ratings, and a will they or won't they romance that steamed up fanfiction forums. Then, during the live season 2 finale, it all imploded, leaving everyone scrambling to understand why. Afterward, the 4 stars went down very different paths. Kat is now a lawyer in Washington, D.C. Liana is the bored wife of a famous athlete. Noah, the show's golden boy, emerged unscathed and is poised to become a household name. And Summer, the object of Noah's fictional and maybe real-life affections, is the cautionary tale. But now the fans are demanding a reunion special, of course. The stars all have private motives to come back. Forgiveness, revenge, a second chance with a first love. But as they tentatively rediscover the magic of the original show, old secrets threaten to resurface, including the real reason behind their downfall. Yes. Oh god, I am totally here for this book, you guys. It's basically this cautionary tale. You know, like all of the, you know, all of the Disney TV shows that you loved when you grew up, you know, and then, you know, the actors and actresses are all like sweet and innocent and naive, and then as soon as they leave that show and they become teenagers and adults, all hell breaks loose and they all start like taking drugs and drinking alcohol, going to rehab, and things just go downhill for them, you know, as is just what happens to poor child stars. You know, child stars just can't take it all. It takes someone really special to kind of grow and mature out of that. I mean, look at Elijah Wood, for crying out loud. Elijah Wood was a child star, a child actor, and he grew up perfectly fine and normal, I think. But then you have someone like poor Miley Cyrus. You have someone like poor Miley Cyrus who went through a lot of issues and struggles. You know, even someone like Lindsay Lohan. You know, it takes a lot for some of these people to kind of come out of that and face their demons. So yeah, I like what this book sounds like. It's exploring. You know, all these child stars. They had a really hit popular show. Something happens in the season finale, and yeah, they're all coming back for a reunion special, because reunion specials nowadays are all the rage. So yeah, I can't wait to get to this because it sounds like I'm really going to enjoy it. Next up, A Most Intriguing Lady by Sarah Ferguson, and this is actually book 2 in this series, which I think right now looks to be just a duology. I keep updating like on Goodreads, and I've not seen a 3rd book come out for this series just yet, but yeah, this is the 2nd book. But yes, by Sarah Ferguson, of all people. She who was married to, you know, not so great Prince Andrew, you know, over in England. I personally really quite like Sarah Ferguson. Yes, she's had drama and issues herself, but I've always had a lot of sympathy for Sarah Ferguson. I mean, like, once again, she was married to Prince Andrew, for God's sake. You know, I'm glad she divorced that man. But yeah, I haven't read the first book in this series just yet, but it is historical fiction, and I believe it's taking, yeah, in Victorian London. Both books take place in like Victorian London, following like this upper class woman and whatnot, and I guess some of her drama and intrigue that goes on. So yeah, I can't wait to start this duology and see how Sarah Ferguson goes as a writer, if it works or not. We shall see. Next up, The East Indian by Brenda Shari, I think is how that might be pronounced. Meet Tony, compassionate, insatiably curious, with a unique perspective on every scene he encounters. Kidnapped and transported to the New World after traveling from the coast of India to the teeming streets of London, young Tony finds himself indentured on a Virginia tobacco plantation. Orphaned and afraid, Tony longs for home and envisions a life after servitude full of adventure and learning. His dream to become a physician's assistant, an expert on roots and herbs, a dispenser of healing compounds. Like the play that captivates him, Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, which Tony saw at the Globe during his short time in London, Tony's life is rich with oddities and hijinks, humor and tragedy. And it says set largely during the early days of English colonization in Virginia. This book gives authentic voice to an otherwise unknown historical figure and brings his world to vivid life. Oh yes, this sounds really great. And yeah, I didn't realize it was based off of a true story, it sounds like, so I shall see how this goes. Next up, Two Wars and a Wedding by Lauren Willig. I adore Lauren Willig as a writer, just a lot of her random miscellaneous books that she writes. I really like them a lot, so I can't wait to get around to this book at some point. September 1896. An aspiring archaeologist, Smith College graduate Betsy Hayes travels to Athens, desperate to break into the very male-dominated field of excavation. Amid the heat and dust of Greece, she finds an unlikely ally in Charles, Baron de Robecourt, one of the few men who takes her academic passion seriously. But when a simmering conflict between Greece and Turkey erupts into open warfare, Betsy throws herself into the struggle as a nurse, not knowing that the decision will change her life forever and cause a deep and painful rift with her oldest friend, Ava. And then it flashes forward a couple years to June 1898. Betsy has sworn off war nursing, but when she gets the word that Ava is headed to Cuba with Clara Barton and the Red Cross to patch up the wounded in the Spanish-American War, Betsy is determined to stop Ava the only way she knows how, by joining in her place. Battling heat, disease, and her own demons, Betsy follows Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders straight to the heart of the fighting, where she is forced to confront her greatest fears to save both old friends and new. So yeah, like I said, I really like Lauren Willig. Her historical fiction is always pretty great, so yeah, can't wait to get to this. Next up, All the Broken Places by John Boyne. And you guys, this is a sequel to The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. And you know what? I have not read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas yet. I plan on reading that and this book together, like binging them together. But boy, oh boy, do I love The Boy in the Striped Pajamas movie. You guys, dear freaking God, if you want a movie that is going to make you cry your eyes out, go watch The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. My God. Okay, so the plot of this, like I said, this is taking place after the events of what happened, what went down very tragically and crazily in Boy in the Striped Pajamas. So, 91-year-old Gretel Fernsby has lived in the same well-to-do mansion block in London for decades. She lives a quiet, comfortable life, despite her deeply disturbing dark past. She doesn't talk about her escape from Nazi Germany at age 12. She doesn't talk about the grim post-war years in France with her mother. Most of all, she doesn't talk about her father, who was the commandant of one of the Reich's most notorious extermination camps. Then, a new family moves into the apartment below her. In spite of herself, Gretel can't help but begin a friendship with the little boy, Henry, though his presence brings back memories she would rather forget. One night she witnesses a violent argument between Henry's mother and his arrogant father, one that threatens Gretel's hard-won self-contained existence. Immersive, chilling, unputdownable, All the Broken Places moves back and forth in time between Gretel's childhood in Germany and present-day London. Gretel is at a similar crossroads to one she encountered long ago. Then she denied her own complicity, but now, faced with a chance to interrogate her guilt, grief, and remorse, she can choose to save a young boy. If she does, she will be forced to reveal the secrets she has spent a lifetime protecting. This time, she can make a different choice than before, whatever the cost to herself. And yeah, I really like, it almost sounds like this book, if you had never read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas or never even seen the movie, it sounds like this book honestly could stand alone by itself. Like, you don't even have to read the other book, because yeah, this is an adult book, whereas Boy in the Striped Pajamas was a children's book. But yeah, I'm definitely going to binge both together, because I think I'll get a much more deep, immersive experience doing it that way. Next up, Queen Charlotte, you guys, by Julia Quinn and Shonda Rhimes. Yes, Queen Charlotte, you know, the spin-off from Bridgerton. Yeah, my understanding, this book, yeah, Julia Quinn, it sounds like Julia Quinn is the writer, but yeah, it's based off of this particular season. Julia Quinn didn't write this book before the TV show, you know what I mean? And I really loved the Queen Charlotte spinoff, yeah, guys. As much as I love Bridgerton, I think the Queen Charlotte spinoff season probably is easily my favorite season, even with all the Bridgerton seasons. I loved Queen Charlotte that much. I was just so emotionally into it. In 1761, on a sunny day in September, a king and queen meet for the very first time. They were married within hours. Born a German princess, Charlotte was beautiful, headstrong, and fiercely intelligent, not precisely the attributes the British court had been seeking in a spouse for the young King George III. But her fire and independence were exactly what she needed, because George had secrets with the potential to shake the very foundations of the monarchy. Thrust into her new role as a royal, Charlotte must learn to navigate the intricate politics of the court, all the while guarding her heart, because she is falling in love with the king, even as he pushes her away. Above all, she must learn to rule and to understand that she has been given the power to remake society. She must fight for herself, for her husband, and for all her new subjects who look to her for guidance and grace. For she will never be just Charlotte again. She must instead fulfill her destiny as queen. Yes. Next up, Her Lost Words by Stephanie Marie Thornton. 1792. As a child, Mary Wollstonecraft longed to disappear during her father's violent rages. Instead, she transforms herself into the radical author of the landmark volume, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, in which she dares to propose that women are equal to men. From conservative England to the blood-drenched streets of revolutionary France, Mary refuses to bow to society's conventions, and instead supports herself with her pen until an illicit love affair challenges her every belief about romance and marriage. When she gives birth to a daughter and is stricken with childbed fever, Mary fears it will be her many critics who recount her life's extraordinary odyssey. So then from 1792, we skip all the way to 1818. The daughter of infamous political philosopher Mary Wollstonecraft, passionate Mary Shelley learned to read by tracing the letters of her mother's tombstone. As a young woman, she desperately misses her mother's guidance, especially following her scandalous elopement with dashing poet Percy Bysshe Shelley. Mary struggles to balance an ever-complicated marriage with motherhood while nursing twins, hopes that she might write something of her own one day, and also discover the truth of her mother's unconventional life. Mary's journey will unlock her mother's secrets, all while leading to her own destiny as the groundbreaking author of Frankenstein. Yes. Yeah. It sounds like this book is going to be going back and forth between Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley, mother and daughter, and how their lives kind of parallel. So yeah, I definitely can't wait to get to this. And did I win this? You know what? Did I win this through a Goodreads giveaway? I'm trying to remember. Seriously, I honestly can't remember if I won this through a Goodreads giveaway or not, or if I purchased it. I think I won it. Seriously, I think I might have won it. Next up, codename Edelweiss. Adolf Hitler is still a distant rumble on the horizon when a Jewish spy master and his courageous spies uncover a storm of Nazi terror in their own backyard. In the summer of 1933, Hitler is the new powerful anti-Semitic chancellor of Germany, but in Los Angeles, no-nonsense secretary Liesl Weiss has concerns closer to home. The Great Depression is tightening its grip, and Liesl is the sole supporter of two children, an opinionated mother, and a troubled brother. Jewish lawyer Leon Lewis has watched Hitler's rise to power and increasing anti-Semitism in America with growing alarm. He believes Nazi agents are working to seize control of Hollywood, the world's greatest propaganda machine. The trouble is, authorities scoff at his dire warnings. When Liesl loses her job at MGM, her only choice is to work with Leon Lewis and the mysterious Agent 13 to spy on her friends and neighbors in her German-American community. What Lewis and his spies find is more chilling and more dangerous than any of them suspected. Oh my god. So yeah, this is going to be taking place in Golden Age Hollywood during World War II. Sounds fascinating. Next up, Coronation Year by Jennifer Robson. It's Coronation Year 1953, and a new queen is about to be crowned. The people of London are in a mood to celebrate, none more so than the residents of the Blue Lion Hotel. Edie Howard, owner and operator of the floundering Blue Line, has found the miracle she needs. On Coronation Day, Queen Elizabeth in her gold coach will pass by the hotel's front door, allowing Edie to charge a fortune for rooms and, barring disaster, save her beloved home from financial ruin. Edie's luck might just be turning, all thanks to a queen she is unlikely ever to meet. Stella Donati, a young Italian photographer and Holocaust survivor, has come to live at the Blue Lion while she takes up a coveted position at Picture Weekly magazine. London in celebration mode feels like a different world to her. As she learns the ins and outs of her new profession, Stella discovers a purpose and direction that honors her past and brings hope for her future. And then, good Lord, this cast list just keeps going. I feel like this plot synopsis is overly lengthy. James Geeds, a war hero and gifted artist, has struggled to make his mark in a world that disdains his Indian ancestry. At the Blue Lion, though, he is made to feel welcome and worthy. Yet, even as his friendship with Edie deepens, he begins to suspect that something is badly amiss at his own. In his new home. I can read, you guys. Yeah, seriously, this synopsis just keeps on going. So yeah, it has something to do, you know, Queen Elizabeth, her coronation year, and all these people kind of at this floundering hotel that Queen Elizabeth's coach is going to be going through, you know, so that, yeah, they're hoping to, you know, get out of financial ruin, you know, with tourists coming in who want to see the coach go by. That's the gist of this book. Next up, The Queen's Spies by Oliver Clements. And this is actually book 3 in this particular series. I currently own all of the books in this series, but I have yet to start them. I'm very anxious to start this series, though. I'm very eager because it takes place like during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. And yet, to my understanding of what I remember from the synopsis of like the very first book in the series, it's following John Dee, who was like Elizabeth's astrologer pretty much at the time. And I think this is supposed to kind of be him, not only as her astrologer, but like as someone as part of her spy network as well, which sounds intriguing. So yeah, I definitely can't wait to get to this entire series, because there's like currently 4 books in the series. Yeah, and I'm not going to read the plot synopsis back here at all, because I'm worried it might spoil something. Next up, Clytemnestra by Constanza Casati. I love the cover design on this. It's just kind of simple, I think, while still having a lot of flash to it. You were born to a king, but you marry a tyrant. You stand by helplessly as he sacrifices your child to placate the gods. You watch him wage war on a foreign shore, and you comfort yourself with violent thoughts of your own. Because this was not the first offense against you. This was not the life you ever deserved, and this will not be your undoing. Slowly, you plot. When your husband returns in triumph, you become a woman with a choice. Acceptance or vengeance. Infamy follows both, so you bide your time and force the god's hand in the game of retribution, for you understand something long ago that the others never did. So yeah, this, if you can't tell from this synopsis, this is like a retelling of a sense of like the Iliad by Homer, but focused on the point of view of Clytemnestra, who was the wife of King Agamemnon, who went to Troy, obviously, because his brother's wife, Helen, got kidnapped by Paris, obviously. So yeah, this is going to be focused on, like I said, Clytemnestra and kind of what she's up to during the Trojan War, and then yeah, once Agamemnon comes back successfully from the war, you know. So yeah, if you know the story, you know some of the great craziness and scandal that goes down. It's great. I love it. Next up, Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. Yes, Christopher Paolini, who wrote the Inheritance Cycle, which I love, you guys. I love that series. I've not read it in such a long time. I need to have a reread of it. And my understanding of what this book is, it's part of a series that Christopher Paolini has started up. The very first book in the series was called To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. And as always with a lot of these books, I have yet to start the series. And this is supposed to be like some sort of prequel to that first book. So yeah, if anybody has read this book and the To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, if anyone has read these books, can I read this book first, even though it came out second, or do I need to read the other one first and then this? Let me know if you have any clue or idea, because I might just start with this first and then go into the other book. I'm not really quite sure, to be quite honest, if that's the best approach. And yeah, my understanding of what this series is, it's like a science fiction sort of story, because like the Inheritance Cycle was, you know, like heavy fantasy, you know, with dragons and whatnot. So yeah, this is more science fiction, and I honestly can't remember what it's totally about other than it being science fiction. And like I said, I don't really want to read the synopsis on here because I don't want it to accidentally spoil something possibly for the other book, which is technically the first book in the series, you guys. But yeah, this is all you need to know from me. I primarily am starting this series because it's Christopher Paolini, and I adore the inheritance cycle so much. So it's like I kind of really didn't care what the book was about. I was getting it mostly for name only. Next up, The Late Mrs. Willoughby by Claudia Gray. And this is book 2 in the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney mystery series. And I adore this series, you guys. They're just like kind of cozy little mysteries, like murder mysteries, and they all take place in the greater universe of Jane Austen's books. And like all the characters are like all the characters that you love from Jane Austen, all the characters are like mashed together, you know, like Avengers style. And yeah, they all kind of crisscross over with each other. And yeah, Darcy and Miss Tilney, like Darcy is the son of Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. And then yeah, Miss Tilney is the daughter of the two main characters from, I believe, Northanger Abbey, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, these books, they're just really quaint and charming, very simple to get through. And yeah, if you love the world of Jane Austen, you'll really like these. Like I said, they're like murder mysteries, and yeah, these two characters, they team up in each book to solve whatever the mystery is. And yeah, if you can't tell from the title, this has something to do with the late Mrs. Willoughby, because Mr. Willoughby from like Sense and Sensibility, you know, he gets married, and so yeah, this is dealing with his wife. From the title alone, you can tell it's a spoiler. She dies tragically and mysteriously. Next up, The King's Pleasure by Alison Weir, and this is a novel of King Henry VIII. Yeah, guys. I don't think I'm really going to sit and read the synopsis for this, because it kind of just sounds like your basic Tudor historical fiction, if you will. Previous to this book, Alison Weir wrote like the Six Tudor Queens series. And then, yeah, there's like another book that's before this book, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's like another book after this. So this is like technically book 2, if you want to kind of read them in order, I suppose. And yeah, obviously this is a book focused on King Henry VIII, and it's a big giant book. Yeah, guys. There's not too many books that focus entirely on Henry VIII, because there's a massive amount of books that focus on the 6 wives of Henry VIII, obviously, and he's always just a minor supporting character. So it sounds like this book, he's going to have a lot of the attention and focus, definitely focusing a lot on him as a young man, and kind of explaining why he turns into the monster and tyrant that he becomes. And seriously, I just love Alison Weir, you guys. Her historical fiction is just top-notch. Next up, The Memory of Animals by Claire Fuller. And you guys, I totally bought this book for the cover. I mean, seriously, it's a gorgeous cover. There's a cute little, what is that, a deer? Yes, it looks like Bambi, a cute Bambi deer on the cover. Totally bought it for the cover. In the face of a pandemic, an unprepared world scrambles to escape the mysterious disease causing sensory damage, nerve loss, and in most cases, death. Neffy, a disgraced and desperately indebted 27-year-old marine biologist, registers for an experimental vaccine trial in London, perhaps humanity's last hope for a cure. Though isolated from the chaos outside, she and the other volunteers, Rachel, Leon, Yahiko, and Piper, cannot hide from the mistakes that led them there. As London descends into chaos outside the hospital windows, Neffy befriends Leon, who before the pandemic had been working on a controversial technology that allows users to revisit their memories. She withdraws into projections of her past, a childhood bisected by divorce, a recent love affair, her obsessive research with octopuses, and the one mistake that ended her career. The line between past, present, and future begins to blur, and Neffy is left with defining questions. Who can she trust? Why can't she forgive herself? How should she live if she survives? So yeah, it sounds like this is taking place during like a pandemic of some sort, you know, not being the pandemic we all had to endure, but you know, being a parallel to that, obviously. Yeah, there's like this kind of science fiction aspect to it going on, which sounds intriguing. I definitely can't wait to get to this. It's not a very big book, so I'm very curious kind of what all is actually going on in this book, because the synopsis, though it kind of gives a bit away, it's also still very vague, which I like. Next up, The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. And I love the design of this cover. It's like shiny, simple, it's great. Every summer for the past 10 years, 6 awestruck bakers have descended on the manicured grounds of Grafton, the leafy and imposing Vermont estate that is not only the filming site for Bake Week, but also the childhood home of the show's famous host, celebrated baker Betsy Martin. Long hailed as America's grandmother for her charisma and warmth on screen, It's Betsy's perfectionism behind the scenes that got her to this vaulted place in life, and she very much intends to continue her reign as America's preeminent baking celebrity. But when someone dies on set, secrets emerge that threaten to put them all in the unflattering glare of notoriety. Oh yeah, this sounds great, you guys. There's almost kind of, if you've seen the movie The Menu, there's something about this book that's kind of giving me a little bit of The Menu vibes, you know, not a direct parallel to that, obviously, because it definitely sounds a little bit different, but I'm definitely here for kind of this murder and intrigue and mystery. I bet there's a lot of good things that are going to go down in this book. I cannot wait. Next up, Perilous Times by Thomas D. Lee. I had to tilt the book. The title's right here, and then the author's right here. I had to tilt this book all over the place. Yeah, another gorgeous cover. You guys, my God, I love this. Being reborn as an immortal defender of the realm gets awfully tiring over the years, or at least that's what Sir Kay's thinking as he claws his way up from beneath the earth yet again. Kay once rode alongside his brother King Arthur as a knight of the Round Table. Since then, he has fought at Hastings and at Waterloo and in both world wars, but now he finds himself in a strange new world where oceans have risen, the army's been privatized, and half of Britain's been sold to foreign powers. The dragon that's running amok that he can handle. The rest, he's not so sure. Miriam's spent her life fighting what's wrong with her country, but she's just one ordinary person up against a hopelessly broken system. So when she meets Kay, she dares to hope that the world has finally found the savior it needs. Yet, as the two travel through this bizarre and dangerous land, they discover that a magical plot of apocalyptic proportions is underway, and Kay's too busy hunting dragons and exchanging blows with his old enemy, Lancelot, to figure out what to do. In perilous times like these, the realm doesn't just need a knight, it needs a true leader. Luckily, Excalibur lies within reach, but who will be fit to wield it? Oh, yes. So yeah, this is like a Arthurian retelling to a degree, but like taking place more in our modern era, it sounds like. And yeah, like some of the big figures of Arthurian legend, it sounds like, from what it sounds like to me, it sounds like a lot of them are being reincarnated over time. You know, like they lived long ago, their legend got told, and they're constantly reincarnated over time. Because yeah, like this says, Kay, he's been at Hastings and at Waterloo and in both World War I and II. So yeah, it sounds like this whole notion of reincarnation and rebirth, because that's very much kind of a big thing you get from Arthurian legend, because like when Arthur dies and he goes to like Avalon and whatnot, you know, there's that whole prophecy of the once and future king, if you will, that Arthur dies, but he will be reborn again and save England, you know. So that kind of sounds like that's the approach this book is taking. I can't wait to get to this, like a modern Arthurian retelling, yes. Next up, yes, I got this book by Tom Hanks of all people. I can't believe Tom Hanks wrote a book. This is called The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece. And for some reason, I was under the impression initially that this was like some sort of work of nonfiction, but it's not. It is a work of fiction. The story starts in 1970. We're following a character named Robbie. Robbie now writes and draws comic books for a stoner underground comic book company in Oakland, California. He receives a moving letter from his long-lost uncle, which sparks him to write and draw a comic about a flame-throwing soldier. And then we cut to today. A big-time eccentric director discovers Robbie's 1970 comic and decides it's exactly what he needs as the basis for a superhero movie with heart. From that point on, we are witnesses to the making of another motion picture masterpiece with a colorful and memorable cast of characters, including a pompous star and his determined leading lady, a young actor not entirely ready for his sudden rise to stardom, a fierce and loyal producer, a tireless production assistant, and countless film crew members, all of whom create Hollywood magic. So yeah, this sounds fun, you guys. And yeah, it's taking place in, like, you know, Hollywood, and yeah, Tom Hanks, of course, being one of the most classic national treasures here in America. Yeah, Tom Hanks kind of lending his point of view and perspective, you know, since he is part of the world of Hollywood. You know, he's going to know what he's talking about in this book. So yeah, I can't wait to see how this goes and see how Tom Hanks is as a writer. Next up, The Violinist of Auschwitz by Ellie Midwood. And it's occurred to me while doing this book haul, I sure do have a lot of World War II themed books. Dear God, I have a problem. In Auschwitz, every day is a fight for survival. Alma is inmate 50381, the number tattooed on her skin in pale blue ink. She is cooped up with thousands of others, torn from loved ones, trapped in a maze of barbed wire, and every day people disappear, never to be seen again. This tragic reality couldn't be further from Alma's previous life. She was an esteemed violinist whose performances left audiences spellbound, but when the Nazis descend on Europe, none of that can save her. When the head of the women's camp appoints Alma as the conductor of the orchestra, performing for prisoners trudging to work as well as the highest-ranking Nazis, Alma refuses. They can kill me, but they won't make me play. Yet she soon realizes the power this position offers. She can provide starving girls with extra rations and save many from the clutches of death. This is how Alma meets Miklos, a talented pianist. Surrounded by despair, they find happiness in joint rehearsals, secret notes, and concerts they give side by side, all the while praying that this will one day end. But in Auschwitz, the very air is tainted with loss and tragedy, is the only certainty. In such a hopeless place, can their love survive? And boy, oh boy, I have a feeling by the time this book ends, I might be in tears. Please, let this have a happy ending. Can I have a happy ending? And the last book here is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Sugimura. I'll have to look up a better pronunciation of that. And again, another gorgeous cover design, you guys. Bullied to the point of dropping out of school, Kokoro's days blur together as she hides in her bedroom, unable to face her family or friends. As she spirals into despair, her mirror begins to shine with a touch. Kokoro is pulled from her lonely life into a resplendent, bizarre fairy tale castle, guarded by a strange girl in a wolf mask. 6 other students have been brought to the castle, and soon this marvelous refuge becomes their playground. The castle has a hidden room that can grant a single wish, but there are rules to be followed, and breaking them will have dire consequences. As Kokoro and her new acquaintances spend more time in their new sanctuary, they begin to unlock the castle's secrets, and tentatively each other's. Yeah, this sounds super compelling, you guys. The synopsis is kind of just vague enough, but interesting enough to pull you in. So yeah, it sounds like these young people are going to be pulled through like this mirror realm almost, you know, like, you know how like in Narnia the kids go through the wardrobe to a fantasy world. It almost sounds like this mirror is like the wardrobe, you know, it's like a gateway into this other fantasy world that may like be a parallel to their own, perhaps. Yeah, I can't wait to get this. This sounds really interesting to me. Okay, you guys, this is a long enough video as it is, so that is it for this book haul. In the comments below, have you guys read any of these books? Do you plan on reading any of these books in the future? Yeah, any of these books that I should get to sooner rather than later, just let me know. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.